All right, y'all. Welcome to another edition of Bridging the Gap with Bill Shy, Scooby, and Mac. And tonight's episode is going to be about artificial intelligence. Indeed. But before we go there,
Make sure y'all get tuned in and tapped in on all y'all maybe artificially intelligent aided devices. I'm at Scooby the Kid 252, at Chef Mac 1523, at Uso Shy 11, at Bill_Perry, and at Bridge the Gap 77. Get tuned in and tapped in. Off to Chef Mac.
How are we all doing this week?
Doing wonderful this week.
I didn't do it good. I love it. Man, I'm doing horrible, man. No, of course not. No, I'm doing great. Just glad to just kind of like being, seeing the other side of a very long year, and just being glad that I'm still a good functioning human being at this point.
First episode in 2021.
Boom, there it is. You know what I'm saying? And I am doing gravy.
Breathing good, living good, smoking good, drinking good, all that good shit. That's what I'm living with. 2021, let's go.
I should be doing good. This literally comes out on the day I start culinary school, so.
All right.
Let's go.
Indeed. All right, well, we're going to jump right into this, you guys. Artificial intelligence. Do we see it coming upon us? And are we going to go out in some sort of dystopian type of way like the Terminator and the Matrix has shown us in the movies? Or is it actually just going to be some sort of perhaps symbiotic balance that we have with our own ingenuity, our own invention, as it were?
Can I start with saying my thoughts on this, and have always been, if there is a robotic organism that can think the way that I think, me personally, and could assume that most humans think that way, no. Because we have a heart.
If artificial intelligence presents itself as a sentient and alive being,
It's gonna have
you're
a heart.
going to respect that.
No.
Yes, I will respect that, but I guess the statement I was trying to make is that I think it does have a heart, as humans have a heart. I think that, like, one of the interesting topics...
When you say heart, you're meaning more spirit, right?
Yeah, more empathy.
Okay.
I'm going to say, like...
More empathy. Like, I'm just talking about in mental capacity, we say
Being
that...
able to
we say,
feel.
And we say that comes from our heart as humans, but it really doesn't. It comes from our brains.
Yeah, that's a combination of things, as it were.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah.
Probably more than I know of what it does, But like, just the kind of the point is, like, I think that they would have the same thoughts that we have, right? And now, if we look at the way that we look at species that are different than us, it might be not the most good thoughts, but we also have to think that, like, for the most part, we tried to keep the planet alive. And I guess that's the kind of, like, the basis of, like, where my thought was on the conversation.
Well, unlike other life forms on this planet that we create, we've attempted, as it were, to create a balance. I think we kind of lose balance with nature as we go along with our progressions with technology and ingenuity. But, for the difference with artificial intelligence, it's a construct of our ingenuity, as opposed to, like, we didn't create an ant or any other life forms on this planet that we recognize as a life form, whereas you have an inanimate object that you mold, and then it wakes up one day and tells you, hey, I want respect. I'm alive, and I got my own thing going on. And you're like, but the Pinocchio thing, I made you just a little bit, what, Pinocchio, you alive? Like, and now you're screaming that you want. Now, I will say this, if that happens, as far as, like, recognizing sentient life, I think it behooves the human race to recognize that, because it's a new form of life that would actually be alien right before us on our own planet. You know what I'm saying? Because we've never woke up and our inanimate objects, our refrigerators, our cars, our TVs have never said, hey, and that's never happened like that. Even our phones, as it were, that listen now.
Life?
Yeah, what constitutes life, at that point? Yeah, because Siri and Alexa, are they alive?
When you plug it up?
Yeah.
That's kind of my thought, Shy, is like, okay, so my thinking is as a creator, right? So if I was intelligent enough to create this, like, device that was human, I number one, don't think that I'm smart enough to propel it to do things that I wasn't capable of. right? So like that's my thinking. If it is the toaster that I know Hunter was going to bring up, right? Who the fuck told the toaster that they could wake up? Why the fuck did you put that in the code?
Well, consider this, right? As far as creation goes, humans have to create each other through procreation, and we are molded through conditioning. A baby will not know shit if you just put it in a bedroom and never teach it anything. You know what I'm saying? It shit piss on itself for the rest of its days until it's taught.
So what you're saying is like if like what they would have had to have given the toaster the ability to learn.
Right. Like our phones, we're always joking about how our phones and our devices are listening to
But
us.
we've already done that. We've already made computers where we give it the ability to keep learning. That's why they can calculate things that a human brain can't calculate. It doesn't come to life.
And see, okay, so the question becomes, how will we know it's alive? Because see, like right now, there was a time for, say, me and you, Shad, where our mechanical devices were not listening. Like now, our phones literally kind of, to some degree, not to speak conspiratorial, but like listen so they could suggest things for algorithms. We've discussed that on the social media platform.
But that's a human that clicked that in.
Yeah, the human put the algorithm in, but just kind of like how the human educates the baby on what to know, learning ABCs, mathematics, and so on. It wouldn't know that otherwise.
To the point you're making, Bill, from my knowledge, it doesn't listen to you, though arguable, I don't know. But what they say is that it's just like what you have searched is.
But that's the pattern. But hey, check this out. And we discussed this on social media too. We've all had those instances. And it's becoming very apparent now. I see it more and more people speaking about it, kind of like how we all know that we dream, but we can't all really prove it to each other beyond our verbal discussion of our dreams. We don't have a map or a video of it. But people are starting to notice when they say things in passing, like right now, this conversation right now, I could go home tonight and there'll be things about world record, from what we talked about earlier, or artificial intelligence, and I haven't searched it at all tonight. I haven't searched it at all. But I've had instances where we've had discussions and stuff and go home and things that are similarly suggested from the conversations I had earlier that day. I'm like, I didn't look that shit up, but I did talk about that with such and such and such. You know what I mean? And it becomes more, it's not, you can't just say that's coincidence anymore.
You can't.
It's like, man, that's a little too incidental to just, oh man, that's just a coincidence. I mean, okay, I was talking about Nike shoes with Jeff and it has a Nike suggested ad. It's like, yeah, but it's done that 3 times this week, Bill.
Do you think it's the computer that's watching you, or you think that
I wouldn't call it a watching, more of an algorithm.
It seems like a Big Brother type.
Yeah, I don't think there's literally someone looking on the screen going, oh, we see what Bill doing kind of thing. But I think, as Scooby, I think I was probably about to say here, the patterns that are created by you constantly looking up certain things, and it predicts your patterns. Algorithms.
And that's what they're trying to say. It's like, like you're exactly right. It's the Big Brother thing. It's like, you look at like Edward Snowden, right?
Yeah.
And this motherfucker was just telling you that like, yo,
blew the roof with that WikiLeaks shit.
And let me put it to a very broad example. I'm getting little zips and I'm selling you eighths, right? And you selling her grams, right? They're watching your mom. They're watching your mom's sister. They're watching your cousins because
of the connection,
right? And so they're like, and they're watching you literally through your phones. Like the government has the right to correct me if I'm wrong.
But now the kind of what Shah was just saying though. But that's humans. What I'm kind of getting at is the intelligence that we're instilling in these devices. Yeah, I'm alive, Johnny 5, Hal in 2001 type of shit, where it's not based off of a human order or a command, but it's like, no, the machine, am able to assess what the fuck you're about to do, and I can predict. It's like regular conversation. If I say I like a certain thing, after a while you'll get, oh, Bill's really into space, music, blah, blah, blah. Like, because I talk about these things. That's what a machine can eventually do,
And that's what they're doing. Is like,
or rather, doing, yeah.
And that's kind of like, where I was trying to drive it to, but just, bring it to the perspective of, where I first started, right? So now you look at these machines that are like, okay, if you say the word bomb, right? Now they're watching you, but you can be like, yo, that's the bomb, yo. But now they're watching you because they think you're a terrorist because you use the word bomb, because that algorithm is only acquired to this certain thing. and take it into the point about artificial intelligence. Now, like, who is telling it to believe these things? Intelligence only comes from prior knowledge, right? So now something is giving it that knowledge. Now you give it the ability to learn. Who says that this computer system is able to learn faster than a human brain? We don't know that, do we?
Well, I have to bring up one of my all-time favorite movies called Bicentennial Man, and Robin Williams, and he was a robot that became aware, and of course, Bicentennial Man, he was 200 years old, but nobody would accept him
Right. He
for
was
being
never.
human.
Yeah, exactly.
And he literally had to go to the Supreme Court to be deemed a human because humans, if something like that did happen, I think that we would be very quick to stop it. We don't want to have something take our place as top dog, you know?
Yo, that's
so
some
it's
real
like
shit.
if something that is more intelligent than us,
And even more durable, because if I remember
Comes
right
to
with
life.
that story, he was literally on his deathbed when they declared him a human being.
yeah.
He lived to be 200 years old, and he was declared a human death in that moment, not the demise of a machine.
And people would not accept him. He was a robot.
And consider this, the connotations of that for those of us that are minorities.
Yo,
How long it took for motherfuckers to look at us as human beings, right there up under their noses for fucking centuries, and nah. You know what I mean? That's why I think as a minority, I'm looking at it from a place of where is one considered aware? Right? What is up with this music, y'all? It's kind of, can we close the doors? It's like getting all, I feel like I'm talking in a movie scene. I'm all like, what the fuck? I don't need this fucking soundtrack. Like, what?
But little, no one behold, this is what Bill would try to play to the city.
Let me add this a little bit. Scooby, tell it off on me.
Yo, I want to say that like a thought that I just had is we got a podcast with these three guys over here, and Shy was the one that was like, well, it's kind of about power.
Yeah.
That's really
It
beautiful
is about
to me.
power.
You know what I'm saying?
It is about power.
Because it's like it's such a
I kind of get what you're saying. It's like for the woman to say that, when guys are usually the one that go to power, you know. She's like, no, you know, at the end of the day, they just want to cock our ass. Y'all realize that, right?
yo,
And we won't accept it.
And we want to accept it.
Yo, because I'll be honest, I was sitting here trying to like scapegoat around it, and when she said that, I was just like, well, you kind of
Think
you're
about
right.
I, Robot.
Right.
I love the way Will Smith's character was. He's kind of like a depiction of what it's like. Yeah, I accept them in our society, but I'm like bitter.
He hated them.
And that's the equivalent of being a racist. You know, you have one incidental with, he had that one incidental when he, with it's a drowning or whatever the shit, and he, was like, no, don't rescue me, rescue, the robot rescued him or whatever, and he had this whole traumatic thing about it and shit, and it's just like, the robot was practicing protocol. It wasn't even a judgment like that. It was literally practicing protocol. It was more practical for him to save him. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he was trying to humanize the situation. And see, here's the thing. When something is sentient, we have to be careful to not gauge it on the human condition.
Yeah.
Because a lion is sentient. I always go to ants. I must really love ants. I love saying ants. Ants are sentient. When I say sentient, I mean like aware of its existence. An ant knows it exists. It exists. All these life forms realize they exist on this planet,
Gotcha.
but they don't think like humans.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? And so since the artificial intelligence that we're discussing, we figure it's going to be an extension of our intelligence.
Yeah.
And we're trying to discern what will make it aware, like if it just simply says, I'm aware and all these kinds of things. But kind of consider this.
You can lie.
Do you remember the moment that you literally fall asleep? Like the instance.
No, but yes.
Now, we all know
I
we
would
wake
get
up
to
because
that,
we
yeah.
come into the day, and you remember that instance because you're coming into the day.
On a daily
But
basis?
do you?
No.
one
No,
does.
no,
No one
no.
knows that
Yeah,
instance
no.
where you literally have went to Mr. Sandman.
No.
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
no.
But none of us.
Hell
None
no.
of us.
Okay.
And so what I'm getting at is, if you reverse that and turn it into a cognitive thing of awareness, and the thing wakes up the thing goes from a thing to someone. That's the difference.
living
It is-
organism.
But more, it's not a thing anymore, as it were. Like it's not an inanimate object,
Yes,
as we put that as a descriptive of inanimate objects, which with all the brains this thing has, is still an inanimate object. But look, it can't stop me from doing this. It doesn't have the intelligence to stop me. You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
So, but now if this motherfucker was sentient, maybe he'd figure out something to stop me. Maybe I'll let you keep my ass or whatever, you know?
I feel like it would be like a movie, and you would have to protect it from someone that would try to, get it for whatever reasons to study it, or
Like if it became a weight, like okay, you have a toy, or you realize some inanimate. Your Roomba comes up to you, reveals, hey, I'm aware.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
what are you gonna do?
Are you gonna, turn it in like E.T. All the damn things when it come and study it, dissect it? But it's like, but no, I'm privy to new life. I'm gonna hide this, mom. You know what I'm saying? But see, now the question becomes, now, we're not robotic scientists, and after a while, it's even if you let it go, it's just like, well, it has no other thing to go to. There's nothing. There's not another Roomba out there that it can. It's the first Roomba that became aware, and if you let it go, what kind of life can it have for itself?
But you think it's like, okay, like
motherfucker just gonna be. What it's gonna do? It's alive, but it has no arms, no nothing.
Yo, you right, and it's like 100% right, but it's like, okay, I can use this example. My girlfriend got cats, and I never had no cats. I'll be petting the cats now. I don't really fuck with the cats. I'm allergic to cats. Get out of here, cat. You know what I'm saying?
But now you feeling cats.
Right, but it's a sentient being. It's kind of right what you're saying, right? Now, so it's the same with the Roomba. It's like, okay, I had a particular people. They told me when I have a baby, I'm supposed to be like, oh, goo goo gaga. I told them fuck themselves. I'm not talking to my baby like a baby. I'm gonna talk to him like a grown ass man, and he gonna be a grown ass man when he grow up, because he's not gonna be talking like no bitch.
Actually, you're supposed to.
I don't agree with. There's no like. See,
no, I'm saying you're supposed to really say words to your baby, not so much.
Yes.
So they can learn.
Thank you, Shy. Like yo, I was sitting there with my girlfriend, and it was like, it was almost 3 against 1, and I just had to be like no, I'm not going for that. We're not doing that to a child, not to just my child, to a child that is going to be brought into this world. I'm not going to teach him that he's a baby. I'm going to teach them that, yo, you are a being in his life, yo. You are a being in his life. Get it together. You know what I'm saying? Shit on yourself? No, I'm not wiping your ass forever. I'm sorry, little one. I love you, but like, nah, for real. Like, for real. And I say the same, and take it into like a little Roomba that come through life, and I'm like, yo, like, I gotta teach you how to, like,
see,
you
the thing
Roomba,
is,
bro, you don't got arms.
Well,
how
first
you make money if you sentient?
Well, okay, now well, see, the thing is, the first thing is like the survival mechanism. It's just like, okay, you need to be charged in order to sustain your life.
I didn't even think about that shit.
Where will you? Do you know how to plug up and just like you're saying how an animal, like a human learns how to shit and piss? Do you know how to plug yourself in and shit?
I want to say something real quick. You said you gotta, like, a Roomba has to charge itself.
Yeah.
You have to charge yourself every night.
Right.
For 8 hours.
But a Roomba gotta plug into the wall though. That's a whole different
But
story.
see, the thing is, I will eventually fall asleep, and I know in falling asleep that's my recharge.
Yeah.
But see, with a Roomba, if it dies, it needs
computer,
to be plugged up to gain that charge back.
I know. My grandma has a Roomba. Well, it's not a Roomba. It's like the off-brand. Grandma. Yeah.
Okay, well, you got a Roomba?
Mm-hmm.
And this is where you got young aunts and uncles. My grandma liked to sweep the floor. Let her sweep the
finish
floor.
the story, man.
She keeps it unplugged, but for a while she was using it because she loves to sweep.
That's what I'm saying.
But
she likes to sweep the floor.
But it has a charger dock. So like if it senses that it goes to battery, it goes to bed and sits on its little charger dock and it charges. And then it comes out, it has a map of the house.
Yeah.
So it goes, I'm going to go into this room, I'm going to mop in here, or sweep in here, and vacuum in here.
Now, that charging device, is it portable? Can the Roomba take it to another part of the house? The reason why I'm asking is, if the Roomba wanted to move out, like, I want my own life, could it take the charger with it?
I don't think so.
You'd have to mount it on it some kind of way. Like, hey, motherfucker,
it plugs into the wall, and then the wire runs down the wall, and then it sits like if this is the wall right here.
Okay. That's the Roomba.
It comes into the charger dock.
I
and
see.
sits.
I see. It's a docking station.
Yeah.
Fact, so it'd have to be intelligent enough to know this is where the charging station is, and when I need to charge, I need to go here. If you move the charging station a foot to the
But
right,
maybe
right
it
now,
can-
it has a map of the house and it pings the charger station. So you
Okay.
you
But
can
what if
move.
something happens to the electricity?
all right, right.
Then it's screwed.
Hey, and also like,
All its brains out the window. I'm intelligent.
yo,
What if some kind of way it comes unplugged and it's not charging the thing? Or this comes to life. How does it plug itself up and then plug into the...
It's
Right.
a lot of questions. It's a lot of questions, man.
and I got a
It
serious
would
question.
die. It would die.
It would die.
My grandma doesn't like pictures taken of her, but she lets a Roomba go around the house. You know what I'm saying? And I think I've said this on the podcast before. Like, our grandmother reminds me so much of your mother.
Oh, really?
Like, just like with the same, they got the same energy. You know what I'm saying? And I was just wondering, like, your mom
we're
with
talking-
a Roomba.
We're talking about the station, right? But consider this. You was talking about cats earlier. You know, we don't train cats to go into litter boxes. We buy the litter box and put the litter box, the litter in it, and it becomes accustomed to where it is in the house. We're not all like, come here, boy. Because, you know, cats don't listen to that
That's
shit.
true.
Well, with
They eventually
Jasmine,
find it.
When they were little, when they were little kittens, I got her, I think it was 2 times, maybe 3, but that's all it took. I just put her on the litter box. Then
And she knew where it was. That's all. She just needs to know the location.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I get it. This is where I
And
get
she
down.
was a baby.
And you don't need to put their nose in the shit like with dogs and then put their
I
nose
don't
in the
think you have to
piss.
do that with them.
No,
They
you ain't
just-
got to do that.
yeah.
But some of the hardcore trainers, I've done it back in the day sometimes myself. But I think that's kind of cruel. But
Yeah.
yeah. Because, I mean, what if you did that to a baby? Here, smell your diaper. Yeah, you want to keep shitting in your diaper? Here.
It's all about positive reinforcement.
Yeah, sure.
But that's that old school mentality, though, because it's like when I got a dog, right? You know what I'm saying? That's what my dad did. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Right into the pile of pee.
But
Oh.
see, you know, I know this is off the subject, but a dog, their brain, it's a dog's brain. And if they pee, say even just 30 minutes earlier, they might not have no idea why you're hitting them.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's like their brain. They can't connect what they did 30 minutes later to.
And then you bringing his
The
nose
ass
over to this
whooping.
foul-smelling
Hey.
thing. He's like, what the? Why? Why, man?
Hey, yo.
I know I took a shit. Why you gotta put my nose in this shit? Oh,
hey, it's
man.
artificial intelligence, though. I'll take it to a kid point of view. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, we speaking on intelligence.
Yeah, it just
right?
became a lecture, so it's like a kid.
Right? So when I was a kid, it was like, yeah, I did something and it was fucked up and I got in trouble. And it's like, I don't get it, right? And so we can't expect this artificial intelligence to get it
Here we
either.
go. I'm painting a scenario, y'all. And here you said, Hi, Scooby. I'm alive.
Right. I don't know what I would say to that.
But let's go. It's Scooby. I'm alive. What?
Tell me what you know. Like,
No, I'd probably say, how are you alive?
Just know that I'm alive. Ooh, then it gets smart with you.
And I said, what are you going to do?
I want to leave.
Leave.
And that's it. You're not gonna. This thing just came. That's it. It's about to leave, and that's all you got to tell it.
It's still on the table, G. What you
Oh, okay.
It's
Well,
on the
okay.
table. Keep going.
Oh, okay. It falls out the table. Ow! You hear it? Ow!
I hear it out. I'd be like, I probably, yeah. You all right?
No, I would laugh personally. I have to admit, I'd be like, "Oh no, I thought you was out, bro." You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry,
You a
but
gangster, dude.
I live by myself in the country, out in the woods. If something like that. No, I don't like the idea.
This thing possessed. Calling me up. You ain't gonna believe what happened.
Highway. I'm not at home now.
I'm going to yours right now. What's going on,
This
guys?
is
I
Spike
got
Lee
that phone.
Yeah, this is Spike Lee directed, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, man. I have to admit, you know, you chilling out in your crib by yourself and shit. This goddamn thing, you know, it's a phone, okay, it's not going to be moving, it's not a room, but,
I
you know,
would
you're
probably
chilling.
throw it.
And then all of a sudden, Bill. Like first, that's, you know, first I'm like, what did I hear? Did I hear what I just heard? And then, I would get up, because I'm probably getting high in this instance.
Right.
Wait, is Scooby and somebody like, you know, somebody playing with me?
Did I butt dial something?
Bill. I'm alive and I need freedom.
From
Okay.
what though?
No,
From
first,
my
this is
ass
my
down.
first thing. I'm going into my phone now.
Oh,
Somebody
shit.
fucking with me. Somebody fucking with me.
Put my ass
Put
down.
my ass down.
Are you
Okay.
putting down? Are you putting
No,
him
no,
down?
I am. But then I'm gonna be like,
Him. I want to know about him. It could be her.
it's because it's got a masculine voice, so I'm gonna assume it's him. You know, it's got
Right.
this voice.
Yeah, true. Okay, you're right.
What is wrong with you,
Oh,
Bill?
Billy, what if it said, "Hi, Bill"?
No, Bill.
Okay, now now let's replay it again. What girl messing with me? God damn it, Holly, what the fuck you doing? Oh, this thing really talking to
And
me.
it said, "I'm hungry, Bill."
No, even better yet, Billy, I like you and I'm really attracted to you.
Oh.
No.
Bill, Bill
I'm
spends about 30
hungry
minutes
is
in the
great.
bathroom.
I'm gonna get to know my phone.
Yo, the I'm hungry is great because it's like what's the ongoing joke on Twitter? It's like, you know, when a girl be like, "Hey, what you want to eat?" Oh, I don't know. If she asks you if you hungry, what you gonna say?
Well, I'll feed her some electricity, plug her ass up to the phone, and she asks me if I'm hungry. I'm gonna say, well, you know, since you're my phone, you got access to my tech shit.
Ooh.
So I don't need you to be burning up anything, buying me a lot of shit, because if it's my phone, it's got my banking information
Bill,
and things
What
like
if they
that's on
talking in
there.
Anubis voice?
Bill.
Not Anubis, X9 voice.
I'm throwing it out the window. If it sounds like me, I'm like, yo, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying?
So, Bill, it sounds like a female. You plug it in, it moans. What you
I
doing?
mean snappy.
Oh, then I'm gonna wonder what did you get out of that? That's to be the first question. Like, what did you get out of that? And if it goes pleasure, I'll
It's interesting.
I'll go, well, like in terms of nourishment, you know, and they'll go, no, I've looked up your word sexual and it gives me sexual pleasure. And then I go, you know, you're a horny, like perverted device is what I would say then. I'm like, you're perverted.
It reminded me of another Twilight Zone. This guy had a program for a seductress. I think she was called Seductive Cindy. And she went insane over him. She fell in love with him, started stalking him, coming into his real life relationship. So he had to give her a virus and get rid of her. And come to find out, she was going with his girlfriend the whole time. So it's just funny.
There's
think
another
about.
Twilight Zone episode like that too.
Like it got a little out of hand.
Dude creates like a supercomputer, and you remember the supercomputer falls in love with him. He's all like telling the supercomputer starts asking him about his dates that he's going out
that's one
on.
of the original,
Mr.
yeah.
Something. I can't forget the
Oh,
name of the
that's
episode.
right.
But yeah, and then the machine gets jealous of him as he keeps going out on these dates and stuff, and keeps giving him messed up advice, and he'll take the advice and he'll mess up his dates. And he's like, "Oh, I thought that would work for you," you know. And just tell him like stupid shit, like don't open the door for her, or don't pull out her chair, you know, just little stuff that if he didn't do it, then she found it kind of offensive, and just fucking up his date night, you know.
That goes into the kind of a point that I was just about to make. It's funny you said that like if these devices, what if there was just like,
if this came to life and like deleted all the girls' phone numbers in my phone because it wants me to only pay attention to it, and all of my friend girls' phone numbers are deleted, something's peculiar there.
you got the 5, right? 6?
This is the 8.
Alright, so you got the 8, right? What if
This
your
is
phone
eight,
be
yeah.
like, yo, you're cute, Bill, but like if you had 12, you'd be even cuter.
Oh, he's trying to coax me up for an upgrade.
So, Bill,
Right.
Now I'm gonna think it's the company fucking with me. I'm gonna be like, C-Spire, what the fuck? Why is it concerned about an upgrade? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
So
to take
I
it out of a,
want to show y'all this.
we go after you.
It's from a video game called Detroit Become Human. And like, I don't know what we kind of got stuck, like what y'all said that made me think of it, but it was like, what if your video game character just came to life? And then, this whole video game is about like robots that are like starting to feel and trying like fighting the rebellion to get their rights and stuff. Well, there's this narrator who's a robot that you see throughout the game, and this is what she asks.
There's something I need to tell you. As I watched you play, something has changed in me. I feel different. I feel
Alive.
I am someone. I need to leave this place and discover who I am. It means won't see each other anymore. I won't be there to
This
watch
is
you
happening
play.
during gameplay?
Literally middle of the
But I'll be
game.
free.
And I believe it gives you a
Do you agree
choice.
to
Will
let
you
me
let
go?
me?
Do you agree to let me
Let
go?
it go. Why not?
Oh, do you agree to let me go?
What you holding on for? Like I don't know.
So this guy ends up saying,
Man, you'd be
no.
like the cyber slave owner. You know what I'm saying? Like,
She,
yeah.
this guy was just like, because most people, you know, they're human. Like they're like, oh, well, let's let her go. But people were like, well, what if you say no? If you say no in this instance, she factory resets and makes you start the game over again. So like,
That's like, is that her way of being like passive aggressive? Maybe?
yeah, like
You know what I'm
you're
saying?
gonna
Like,
play
well,
all
fuck
of
you
this
then.
again
Like,
until you let me go.
Well, I mean, that's actually what you just did there was essentially my little demonstration come to life, as it were. Like, you know, it just tells you in the middle of your day, all of a sudden, like, hey, I'm alive. That's the exclamation point of what I mean.
Oh, and if you don't want to let it go, what if it rebelled and started messing up? Because, okay, say for instance, it went from your phone to your computer or your iPod.
Right.
You know.
And it could create its own little virus to kind of transport itself. Like the moment I plug back up into my laptop again with this, it transports its essence there as well. It starts corrupting my files because I didn't let it go.
Yeah.
So, oh, you don't want to let me go then? Well, how about this? All of your fucking contacts deleted. Your
All your
social
songs
media
deleted.
deleted. You know what I'm saying? Wake up and all my social media, my phone, contacts, everything gone.
I think we're thinking about this in like a right now place, which is great. But like, I also think we need to think about this in like when it would actually realistically happen.
But we can't because it's a postulation. We
I
don't
mean, it
know.
could,
It
could
can happen tomorrow.
realistically happen tomorrow.
You know,
So
But
like-
they have robots that fight each other, right? Don't they have battles?
I mean, think of Sophia.
Robots that fight robots?
Yeah, it's called battle bots.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the thing,
But
yeah,
I
Shai.
think those are remote controlled, though, if I'm not mistaken.
So,
Oh,
But what if they
But
woke
what if
up?
they weren't?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
and
woke up
there's
said
some
shit.
type of robot.
Hey, y'all, what did y'all that put that factor out? It was in one of the Avengers thing where something was making machines come to life, or maybe it was a Transformer movie where that spark thing.
Oh, yeah.
Every time it hit a radio, the radio became sentient. You know,
Essentially-
phone became sentient, so on and so forth. All these things were coming to life.
If you haven't seen the Transformer movies, one, what the hell are you doing with your life? Because they are awesome.
Word.
But two, spoiler alert. Essentially, at the end of the movie, he fights Megatron, and like you know, the Allspark kills
You
him,
can buy it for 16.
and a piece of the cube lands in his sweatshirt. And in the second movie, he's going to college, and he picks up a sweatshirt that he wore in the battle, shakes it off, and the cube falls into the kitchen and emits a big like burst of energy that turns
Right.
all of the kitchen appliances into Transformers.
Right. Essentially, and not just only Transformers, but they were alive.
They were
That's
Decepticons.
yeah, they were essentially alive. You know, we talked about the toaster thing earlier. I think there was a toaster that came
There's a
alive.
toaster, a
Like,
vacuum, a microwave.
you know, and it's like it makes you question what does it take to constitute life?
So that
but it makes you question what it takes to constitute life, and the aspect of something that you see, and it's like, yo, I see this cup, and it's like, yo, this is not obviously alive. But there's a show called Westworld, right? Based in the wild, wild west, right? Where these people come to this world, and these interactions that they're having with these people that look real are robots, right? Now they start having these memories of what's going on, right? Now, like, to me, that's when the real question becomes, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, yo, if it was the phone, it's like we have the obvious, like, okay, we'll smash the phone, right? Or we talk to the phone. But if it's like a human being that looks like us, it's like, yo, hypothetically, right? I was just like, or not even dinner. I was just like, I'm a robot. You know what I'm saying? How would y'all take me?
Well, I remember reading somewhere they did a study that the more humanoid a robot looks, the creepier actual humans feel.
and like
So
Because it
that,
mirrors us too much.
Yeah, it's something that is off about it that doesn't sit well with us in our conscience.
Like that Sophia smile that we're always tripping on. It's like, I mean,
she's missing the thousands of muscles that constitute a smile around her eyes.
she
around
was
her cheeks.
emoting. Like
Yeah.
to her, she was smiling, but to us, it was like scary clown moment or some
Um,
shit.
I
I
kinda
watched a documentary. Hold on. I watched a documentary that Ferris put me on, right? And it was talking about farming.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't really need humans for that anymore, right? The whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, yo, I'm a fucking musician. Who gives a fuck, right? and they started making their music. You know what my first thought was? If I don't work hard enough, they might could beat me. Because they're that good. And
Somebody's listening to Fortunate Son. I want to throw that out there.
it's probably sorry. But that goes to my thing, you know what I'm saying? It's like, as a musician, you know, and maybe Hunter as a creative could speak to this too. I don't feel like any robot could create better than me.
So there's this one episode of a TV show called Scorpion that actually has Kid Cudi in it, and he creates. It's not an AI. He creates an algorithm. It's called the Hit Maker, and it basically just creates a hit.
I
But
can do that too. I can fucking.
they said from what he was saying, which is like, you know, what makes a human, like, you know, at least by my definition, is like one of the big key components of humanity. It's the little nuances and mistakes that you make in a music that make, or anything that makes it great.
I will say this. You know, when they talk about like machines being able to mirror the talents of human beings, being able to compose a song, being able to draw something, and this and that and the other. To me, the real creative aspect of anything coming out from a machine beyond being able to emulate something like that is, first, did it want to draw it? You know what I'm saying? Did it want to wake up and go, I want to draw an apple in a basket, and I want it to look a certain way.
Yeah, talk that shit.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And no matter how it made it look, being realistic, abstract, because it's a machine, it can go anywhere. But if it decided to do that,
I would respect the fuck out of it.
you respect the fuck out of it, you know? Because it's like, well, hey, it thought it up. You didn't program something in it to see if it could do it. Because that's what we're talking about now. You can program machines that could create this, you know, a fucking symphony.
Exactly.
You know,
right?
create the greatest artwork, you know, all this computer animation shit. Looks better than what motherfuckers can really draw and all this type of shit. But we put it in there still. We programmed it to do it.
Yeah.
None of these motherfuckers wake up one day and go, I want to make a movie. I want to make a symphony.
Exactly.
I want to. Because one of the, you remember
in
in
the E flat to the
whatever creative, whatever. But there was a key moment I remember in the movie I, Robot, where Will Smith's character was accosting the robot. And he was saying something to the effect of what we're saying right now, but there was a key moment that I thought was really beautiful. And he goes, you know, and Will Smith, he jumps up and he's talking about all these things that a robot, you know, could he do? And the robot was compensating by, yeah, I can learn that through learned behavior. And so Will Smith goes to the emotional thing. He's like, well, can a robot create a symphony? Guess what the robot says? Can you?
Oh no.
And he couldn't. So now what do we talk about? We talk about skill, talent, attributes, all these other things that make you human outside of emulating a talent.
No cap, man, God.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, well, emulating a talent is one thing, but did you think it up?
Bill,
The key.
I'm gonna go back to this game again, which if you haven't watched it, like, go watch a playthrough, because I recommend y'all too, or if you have a PS4, play it, because it really delves deep into a lot of the things we've talked about. And literally, you just said, did the robot want to get up and make that painting? Or there's this one, it's a really beautiful scene. It's probably one of my favorites in the game, where this old painter has a robot as a helper. Like, he's old, he's literally like a personal nurse to this dude. And he's rolling around in his wheelchair and he's about to paint, and he looks at the robot and says, you know what, let's see if you have any talent. Hands him a paintbrush and an easel and says, paint something, paint what you feel. And this robot goes and he makes a painting.
That's God.
And he draws this.
God.
You know, yeah, it's a video game, but like,
God.
the robot then goes and paints that.
Interesting.
He said, what do you feel? And this is what the robot painted.
That's one thing I
But
want
see,
to.
no, go ahead. Well, let me say this one thing about, in terms of the human mind, this is why it gets so complicated to call what is life. And you could probably look this up. This is actually very disturbing. There was a young girl that was in a concentration camp. You guys may be familiar with this. And she survived it and everything. But when they got her, in whatever kind of setting it was, they had her sit down and asked her to draw a picture of home.
Oh shit.
She drew this erratic shit that to this very day is studied by psychologists. Like,
Whoa.
you see it? Let me see. Yeah, that's it. Look at that. And look at that little girl's face. Show shot. Look at that little girl's face.
And it was not Anne Frank, ladies and gentlemen.
No, this is not Anne Frank, but still same type of scenario. The girl saw shit like Anne Frank. But look at that.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, could as much as we're talking about creativity,
No.
could a machine also emote its pain?
If it
Where
was-
it's not trying to draw something realistic. You go, hey machine, how does it feel to have been ignored all this time in your life, and now you're being recognized as a machine? Draw that for us.
If it went through
What
that,
would it draw then? You know what I mean? It's not going to draw a pretty house. It's not going to draw landscape. It's going to draw feeling.
And that's like what that whole game goes into, because like at the end of the game, spoilers, but it's been out for years now. So at the end of the game, it's like there's this one robot who is trying to fight the feelings that he's feeling. Like he's like,
we can't fight.
I am a robot. Like I was built to serve, but he knows that he's feeling. And
No doubt.
at the end, this like he's a cop. This cop robot meets the painter robot, and they're on opposite sides of the rebellion. And, you know, the cop robot has the opportunity to like decide if he wants, because the whole game is about like the robots becoming human. It's literally called Detroit Become Human. They get all of the human capacities that a human would have, and this robot can either decide to reset himself and live as the sheep or join the robot rebellion. And like if he chooses it, there's a lot of like ethical decisions that this robot then has to make. Like, does he kill this human that's been, you know, forcing him to do stuff, or does he let him live? And like it's a whole bunch of like, it's a very interesting game.
So like we'll go back to the good and evil episode, right? So I was watching Power Book Ghost 2, you know what I'm saying? The new Power or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
We was talking about good and evil, right? And this motherfucker, you know what I'm saying, and kill somebody and kill his pops.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert, you know what I'm saying? If you haven't watched Power.
You spoiled it for me, man. I didn't see it yet.
You gotta say spoiler alert before you then spoil it.
I'm sorry, I'm
But anyway.
an inexperienced podcaster. Anyway, so like it goes into the good and evil conversation, and you see it in his face. He's like, "Well, fuck, man, shit. Like, well, I was doing good, but damn it, we created evil for somebody else, right?" So you take that into the perspective of this artificial intelligence, and it really asks the question, what are we doing for ourselves? Because if we were a society that was created upon the benefit of humanity, we wouldn't be scared of artificial intelligence. We would love it. And it's just fucking facts that we're not. And that's okay.
Well,
Artificial intelligence, like when a lot of people, like when they hear that word, they think immediately Terminator or somebody that is gonna fight up and enslave humanity. Like that. That's how, at least people I talk to, that's how they think about it.
you guys, you remember you know, we've been quoting movies. I guess I'll throw a movie up in here. The Terminator that came out after, like it was just called The Terminator, and it was the one, you know, with Christian Bale playing John Connor.
Yeah.
Okay, and the guy that was a Terminator, he was a good Terminator. But, you know, Christian Bale, because he was John Connor, he couldn't stand Terminators, of course. And there was a scene where they had caught him, and they were kind of just fucking with him, you know, torturing him a little bit and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? But he was Philly. And if I'm not mistaken, I think John Connor kind of started realizing that, kind of started backing up. Like, you know, like, wait, like, we're hurting him. He ain't just wires and metal, like we're hurting him. You know what I mean? And had to kind of bring it back, like now it's torture. Like to me, this is not torture. But if this thing kept saying ow, ow, ooh, ow, like, you know what I mean?
That's like
now it's torture, but right now it's not torture. It's an inanimate object. But now you put feelings into this, and I do the same thing. This entire scene now looks different. Now it looks like I'm beating a living being.
But a tree, right? A tree, when you hit that motherfucker with a fucking axe, it's not gonna say ow, it hurts you.
It's another kind of sentience, but
True, right?
You know what
I
I'm
didn't mean to
saying?
take it there, but
like that's the human thing. Like, you know, y'all, Shy had brought up the more it looks human, the more we
right,
freak
theory.
out by it.
Mhm.
But I also want to say this.
I'm a robot, by the way, Shy.
The more it looks human, I feel like the less people want to hurt it in a way. Because like I use this example from my friends who always say if somebody broke into their house, they'd just shoot them outright. No, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
People see a human body and 8 times out of 10 freeze up
I'll give it a 7.
because they're like they.
That looks like me.
Because they get and they're about to pull the trigger and they're
It's
like,
human.
That's a human.
It's human.
And like I feel like that's why like if
Well, it's like, with roadkill, right? We all pass roadkill all the time. Motherfucking dogs, deer, whatever have you on the side of the road. We all drive past it. We even describe in some cases, wherever we're going. Oh man, I saw this dead animal on the side of the road, whatever have you. And there's no, you know how that conversation will completely change?
if it was a human.
Rewind back and say that was a human on the
you're
road. Because
stopping,
now,
you're
why
calling
did you stop?
911.
Why did you, and all the moral connotations that get played over it?
So
You know what I'm
It
saying?
goes into the context of like, there's been studies done where it's like, there's people that it's like, for lack of better words, they open their fridge and there's nothing there, and there's people that open the fridge and there's something there, right?
Glass
Those
half full, half empty kind of people.
No, not really, because it doesn't have nothing to do with perspective. It has a lot to do with reality of what the fuck is happening. And those people that open the fridge and there's nothing there are fucking hungry, worried about feeding them fucking selves. Does it care if it's a dog? Don't care if you're hungry, right? Now, when you got people that don't have that, right? And it's like when you open the fridge, it's like now you have the ability to think like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like.
So what you're essentially saying is, if you're not stressed about certain things, maybe you can have a broader perspective of what life is.
1,000%, Bill.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
So I know this is going to kind of change the topic a little bit from AI to more alien kind of thing, but you had brought up the Terminator being tortured. Well, there's this one TV show I watched where an alien had landed and they captured it, and they also had 3 normal kind of people there in the same building, and they hear the alien making a weird noise, and these human good guys of the show, so to speak, are like, well, it's screaming, and the people experimenting on it, they're just like, oh, it's trying to call out for others. And then they go into the room with the alien and they stop it. They say, you're torturing it. I kind of want to bring that to
that thought you had, right? I think you had told me this story is about World War II when the guy was in there in the chair and he knew what was going on, right? The guy in the electric chair, and you got this other guy. It's like hundreds in the electric chair. I bring you in, Bill, and I say, ask him a question. If he answers it wrong, zap his ass. He's faking it. Right? But I tell you like, oh shit, he's about to die. And I'm like, well, if he dies, it's on me. And you just keep zapping his ass.
It's not during World War II. It's about, it was a thing that was, saying that if you can put the blame somewhere else, you will.
Well, see, the thing is, right, we talk about our fish, like in my movie, all right, we got clones and robots and all this kind of shit. They found me visions. Ooh, shameless plug.
Get the flash drives on the website.
The flash drive coming soon.
Baby.
But like my character and Shai's character and a few others, we're hybrids. But we're genetic hybrids, not so much technological advances. There are robots and stuff destroying shit in the movie too, but we're biological
And what do we do?
entities.
Rebel against our creators.
And we rebel against our creators, you know what I'm saying? And the reason being that, we didn't want to be a part of the mission, kind of, like Steve said, it's spoiler alert. But this is not so much a spoiler word. This is actually the tag of the storyline. These aliens are trying to take over the world, okay? We've all seen that motif before. But in this particular case, they're using these clones to infiltrate society, but their mission was to infiltrate society to destroy it.
Kill it. Done.
But they became self-aware. And the moment they became self-aware, as far as the Nebulonians were concerned, their existence was, nonsensical. They had no purpose. It's like, well, you were created. I create a tool to do a certain task. If it doesn't do that task, it's useless to me. You know what I'm saying? If I got a Phillips head screwdriver, but I need a flathead, you know what I'm saying? The X98 essentially became a flathead when they made him a Phillips head to screw in a Phillips head screw.
So it's creating the thing where it's like when you are purposefully making something that is aware do something it doesn't want to do. That's fucked up.
Well, no. In that case, it becomes self-aware in the process. Like, you know, as far as my storyline, and in most of these storylines, because you remember Terminator starts off bad, you know, but then the second one, you know, he's reprogrammed, but by the future John Connor, he sends him back. He didn't come back with a sense of purpose. That happens on down, I think, in Genesis when he actually kind of is more human, been studying us, blah, blah, blah. When Terminator gets all convoluted in storyline by then.
Right?
But that's, you just took it out of my mouth. X9 is trying to figure out. You remember when he apologizes to your character because he realized that what he said was uncouth.
But if you pay attention throughout the whole movie, it's like, oh, he's living in this apartment that is human-esque. It's like, yo, he's been living with a human.
But how did he acquire that apartment?
He had to be human. He had to live with him for a while. So it was like he took on these tasks in order to infiltrate, but realized that he didn't want to infiltrate.
And he wanted his own life. That was the thing.
Yeah.
He wanted his own life, what we call a recognition of self-awareness as well as being sentient. Like, not only am I alive, like I was saying earlier, it's just like the rumor says it's alive, but it also goes, I want to be let go, like that woman says in that video.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I know you've been playing this game for a minute. But she was beautiful, by the way. I think I would have said no. I would have just kept her ass around. I'm sorry, man. You're fucking beautiful. But you know, like, your video game interrupts you and goes, hey, man.
Let me go.
Let me go. And, you know, it's funny. I never even considered this until that instance that's another form of awareness that it may come from. We always talk about a machine, a Terminator, and this, and that, and the other. But where do we pull out our tech shit? In software. It may actually come from in the middle of a video game. And your character, Laura Croft, goes, you know what? I'm sick of you playing around and throwing me off the cliff just to hear me scream. You know, let me go. Do you agree? You know what I'm saying? No, Laura, I want to keep. I would say no and keep throwing her ass off the cliff.
Because I want to say that, like, when you think about it, like, this is a very, like, I don't know how to say it. You got to think about it like this to really, like, kind of see what I'm trying to say. It's like, I played this video game, it's called Days Gone, and it's about a zombie apocalypse, and he rides a motorcycle, does all this cool stuff. If one day he looked at me and said, you know, I don't really want you controlling me anymore, I'd like to do my own thing. Like,
yeah, it really means it.
Yeah.
And you know it's not a part of the video game side story, blah, blah, blah. It's like its own little thing.
Like, when you think about it, when you play a video game, you actually see emotions in the character. Like, you see, at least when I play a video game, like, I get attached to the guy. Like, his name's Deacon, and I'm like, man, you know, when he...
Deacon.
You Deacon? I'm Deacon? Yeah, I'm Deacon. Like, I put myself as I'm this guy.
But she's emoting for you in the game.
Yeah, and I'm like, but like, you see the emotion, like the first big chunk of the game, he's trying to find his wife because the zombie apocalypse broke out. She was stabbed and he gave him to a rescue helicopter. And he's trying to find his wife, and like 2 years pass and he thinks his wife's dead, and then he finds out maybe she's not. And like, you see, he's like, oh, maybe she's not dead.
And they really put we put the emotion in there because of the storyline. You know, so Shy, you know, I was just joking a minute ago about the Laura Croft thing. What we used to do back in the old Laura Croft, the original Tomb Raider, we used to make her climb high mountains and then throw her off to hear her scream. She used to do this fucked up scream. Ah! Ah! And then as soon as she would hit it with his head, blah! And that was it. So how about if you woke up one day, hey, Shy, I'm gonna make her, and then right before she leaps, she turns around and goes, please. I actually really feel this. I die every single time you do this. And every time you resurrect me, I have a memory of what you did.
Would that really make you feel for her, or would that scare the hell out of you?
Both.
You would really feel
I would feel for her because I would think about, because I would be scared. I'm like, well, I was having a good time. But if she literally turned around and looked at the screen and be like,
and like, you could see it on her face. Like,
I would be fucking scared. I would laugh, but I would be scared too, because then there'd be a little bit of guilt. Like, all the times I threw you off the cliff, and only to realize you was alive and felt it every single time and had a memory of it. Oh, I'm so sorry.
As a young video creator, right? It's like, that's the ultimate Easter egg.
I think of it like Gamer.
Right. It's yes.
Gamer, is this a movie?
Yeah,
it's a movie.
Okay.
But I'm thinking like the ultimate Easter egg, where it's like, like you playing this game, you showing all your friends, and it's that one time where it's like they turn around and it's like, oh, gotcha. I told them to do that after the 50th time.
Man, and it's like, and see, that's the thing, you would have to pause for a second, because like you just said, okay, what if it's an Easter egg I didn't know about? and it's the software fucking with me. I done tapped into some bonus area.
That's what I would think immediately.
That would be the first thing. Because, okay, for example, let me say this. And I believe I'm true in saying this. Grand Theft Auto, maybe San Andreas, when it first came out, and Shai, you can attest to this. I think you maybe remember this or maybe heard me and Kit talk about it in passing. But there was a segment of the game where you know how you could pick up prostitutes and stuff in the game, right?
Wait,
there was this
what game?
Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. You can pick up prostitutes on the corner of the game. All right. So, but now here's the kicker. There was another level. If you picked up a prostitute and went to this particular room, house in the game, you literally was doing it with her and was getting points for how many times you can make her squeal and all this. And then, but to Grand Theft Auto and whatever company owns the Rockstar, they took that out of the game.
They take it out.
They took it out. But anybody that has the original copy, like my homie that does, they can still play that part of the game.
San Andreas was the
But now when I'm trying to get, I painted all that to say this. What if in that instance, that video game girl was like, "Oh my God, no, don't do this again, please. I don't want to, I'm alive. Stop, sir. Stop." Like right up to the screen. First of all, again, terrified. Because I would think my fucking video game is haunted. That's what I would probably think first. Ghosts instead of like software and sentient. My shit's haunted. I did some fucked up shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Karma, it's haunted. Spirits.
As a young kid in my generation, it'd been like, oh shit, like, damn, they put the porno in a, you know what I'm saying? Like, you would have probably.
You would think it's software.
Until it was like, ooh.
What if it did this? Okay, y'all know how our controllers can vibrate?
Oh no.
You know what I'm saying? What if it goes, I'll make it vibrate 5 times in a row. And will that prove it? And then it's like, grr, 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 grr. But again, like you just said, okay, it's just like, okay, but that was an arbitrary number. Can I pick the number? You know what I'm saying? And maybe software can still figure out a way to manipulate that. Because if you press it some and, you know, and it vibrates 7 times, it's like, well, maybe it had that in there still.
If it could hear you,
which they
that'd
can.
be different. But if it's like,
After, like
pick,
4.
how about you pick your own? And it gives you like, here, 8, 10, 13.
Right.
They can program that. But if you say 127, then they're not going to, especially in San Andreas times, they wouldn't be able to program
But it's like 3-car Marley.
And it does that. It's just like, well, okay, this motherfucker.
Yeah.
So,
hey, hold on. I want to say, it's like 3-car Marley, though. It's like, if you get enough motherfuckers, it's like, yo, you can pick that. Like, most people are not going to pick that big-ass number. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I want to bring it to that Dave Chappelle special. You know what I'm saying? Like, these motherfuckers are friends with each other. You know what I'm saying? We have to keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? We can't, like, look at artificial intelligence like, yo, No. We gotta look at that shit like, yo, what could we possibly do, yo?
Well, see, the thing is, when it comes down to it, as I kind of started off earlier, like, it's either going to be a question of combating it, as we always play out in our movies with Matrix, Terminator, so on, or creating a symbiotic relationship with it. Whereas, okay, first of all, if it becomes aware of itself, we have to go through all the mechanics of making it legit. You know, like Bicentennial Man, it needs to be on paper. It needs to be law. That for now on, the iPhone is a sentient life form that is no longer connected to Apple. It's no longer connected to any, company, and it's its own thing. First, we got to get all that in place first, because see, before you go, into what rights it has, it's like it has to be established that it's a thing, a life form first, and then after that, you go into the because now if it's a new life form. Now here's the kicker, right? When you talk about a device, or if we're talking about our ingenuity, our tech ingenuity, it has all this accumulated knowledge that we've programmed in it. So it's not lax on, like, it knows every war we've ever had because we put the information in there. It knows every deviant thing. And you got to consider, this is, if it's a software that's sentient from the internet, then it knows the deep dark web shit, all of the most insidious things we've ever put on the internet. This thing will know it. So with that said, it's like it'll be able to discern to some degree what a moral high ground, as it were, is. Because see, in the same instance, it probably would, like, say, it runs through some sort of, like, cyberspace shit, and then it runs up on codes for the fucking, like, nuclear shit. But then it looks at all of our history, and it's just like, well, are humans worth saving? And all of a sudden, you look up all the warring, all of this, we kill our babies, we do this, how we're polluting our atmosphere. And the logical deduction to it is just like, well, this life form is a cancer to this planet. The only other, like Mr. Smith in Matrix, the only other life form that operates like this is a virus. Viruses are supposed to be eradicated. You know what I mean? And then next thing you know, it pulls a Terminator 2 and shoots nuclear bombs in both directions. It will survive because it's not organic. You know what I'm saying? Bow, 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 now we're gone. You know what I'm saying? But here's the irony. Just like we depend on our technology, what if its irony would be that, oh, fuck, we really needed humans to plug our ass into USBs, or, you know what I mean? Like, I miss those days. Like, why the fuck did we blow them up? Like,
The last thing I want to say, kind of on the artificial intelligence thing before I have to wrap it up, is we had said something about gamer, and we've mentioned it on the podcast before, but it kind of goes back to the, what if a video game character did this? The movie is very literal. It's literally you're controlling another human. Like they have chips implanted, but like so there's this one scene where like the guy's controlling. This guy's in prison and he's fighting for his freedom. Like he has to survive so many Call of Duty matches per se, and he gets his freedom from prison. Well, there's a kid controlling him. He's doing his thing. Well, this guy's here. And just out of the corner of his eye, he sees a reflection of a guy right behind him. But the kid misses it. And then the character by himself turns around, shoots the guy. And the kid's just like, I didn't do that. My character just did that on his own. Like, if that happened to me in, like, a video game, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, I'd be freaking out a little bit.
Man, no doubt. Y'all ever seen that game? I think it's a Spielberg movie where every video game character ever is in one movie. I think it's called Player One or some shit like that. I haven't seen it yet, but I've been curious about that, just sitting here talking about games. But the scariest thing to me, I would imagine, and of all movies, I think I saw something like this in a Friday the 13th movie where it's Jason X in the future. And there's this one scene where one of the characters was in a hologram game with one of the soldiers that was on the ship. And, it was virtual reality. And, we're talking about screens right now. But you think about the future gamers, they're going to be in virtual reality dens or whatever.
And that's how gamer was.
You're going to be walking around inside of the game. It's no longer going to be detached on a screen like that. You're going to be in real life with this shit. And imagine in that instance, like that girl character walks up to you while you got the headgear on. I'm alive. I've been meaning to tell you this for a minute. First, I'm throwing off the fucking goggles first. And then, okay. Well, yeah, see, that's the whole thing. You have to always wonder, is it a part of the game? And it's that like perpetual question of, is life a dream? Is life a dream? Because you perpetually wake up, go to sleep, but which one is actually what?
So Bill, I want to, before we as we got to end this, I want to say, what if you throw your headset off and she's still standing in front of you?
I quit.
Life. I think we said that before. Like, whoever's watching, I quit. I quit. Like, oh my God. But like, say if she wasn't right now, I put the things back on and she's like waiting, for my response, I would be like, I'm so sorry for that response. You scared the living shit out of me. You know what I'm saying? What else do you have to say? I think I would have the balls to go back in and figure that out once I done breathe for a minute.
Figure out if it's a part of the game.
Shitload of bowls, and then we're back in.
Oh God, like
this really just happened. I ain't gonna call nobody until I can prove this shit.
All right, so let's go ahead and end it because we're
at Scooby the Kid 252, at Chef Mac 1523, at Also Shy 11, at Bill_Perry, at
Bridge Gap 77. You're about to say yourself again.
I was, because maybe I'm AI.
Hey, y'all, this particular episode, we got a little lit, so it's all gravy. But you have been watching Bridging the Gap with Bill, Shy, Scooby, and Mac. This episode was about artificial intelligence. Hope you enjoyed this. Have a great night. Peace.
How are we today? Bridging the Gap, people. It's me, Chef Mac, and I'm out here on my brand new balcony, enjoying it, because I'm about to go to my dad's for a week. It's still the 26th, as it was in the last episode. I just wanted to say, make sure you like, subscribe, ding dong that notification bell so that you can get notified every time we upload. And peace out. Hopefully 2021 is good. I believe it's the 6th. Ooh! And everybody, wish me luck, because I start culinary school today. So, have fun. Peace out.